What's going on, family? What's going on? Hope and pray all is well. Just want to make sure that everything is in order. Um, in the name of God, the beneficent, the most merciful, all praise is due to the one who created us from absolutely nothing. We thank the Creator for life. We thank the Creator for consciousness. Consciousness. Everybody that's tuned in right now, can you give me a little sound check? If my sound is good, let me know. Let me know how my sound is. If I'm sounding okay, give me a thumbs up. Give me some hearts. Let me know how I'm sounding right now. How I sound. How does the volume? Volume is good. All right. Where everybody from right now? If you can give me a, let me know where everybody's from. Where you from? Where you from? Represent your city. Where's your city? Represent your city right now. Where's everybody from? Salim, I see you. Okay. We got Philly in the building. We got Cleveland in the building. Okay. Okay. All right. Happy Founders Day. Happy Founders Day. Where's everybody from? Where's everybody from? Where's everybody from? Philly in the building. All right. Cleveland, Philly. Good, good. So you all can hear me very well. I'm so excited. I'm so honored to have the opportunity to speak with a living legend. I want to say thank you so much to Senator Nina Turner, who reintroduced me to Dr. Cornel West, a giant of our time. I'm so honored to have the opportunity to meet with him, to talk with him, have some dialogue with him, and someone who we appreciate. And I look forward to bringing him on. Before he comes on, as I wait for him to come on, there we go. Oh man, the
Oh,
giant, the giant himself.
my dear brother, you're looking sharp. Well, your mind is so sharp and your heart is golden, but I like your style too, my brother.
The legend himself, Dr. Cornel West. How you doing, sir?
Man, you blessed me in a mighty way. I'm telling you. You straight out of Brooklyn and Cleveland, man. That's Biggie and Gerald Levert together.
Come on, come
What
on.
you talking about? Neither
Dr. West, man, you are a um, you are somebody who we love dearly, and I just wanted to have the opportunity to speak with you, to talk with you, to listen to you, and you have so much love and support from all across, not just America, but for the globe, and your consistency. You know, as the younger generation, if I could use that term, um, it's imperative that the bridge is built between the generations because that's the only way that we're going to be successful. And I just want to take a moment to just honor you before I even ask you any questions, just to honor you and to say thank you so much for your consistent fearlessness. Thank you. Thank you so
brother,
much.
you so kind. Brother, I feel it. I feel it though, brother. But the beautiful thing is, man, we in it together. You an extension of me. I am an extension of you, brother. I'm telling
Yes,
you.
sir.
The
Yes.
tradition of rich heritage goes backward, forward, and in the present. When I see you, I see myself.
Mm.
When I see you, I see a young, brilliant brother standing tall, life of the mind, life of spirit, and life of struggle, but in your own way. That's why I started with your style. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And indeed. No, it's a your style is very much like your voice, and your voice is like your fingerprint, and your fingerprint unique, distinctive, irreproducible, never repeatable. Nobody ever another Basheer Jones in the world.
Mm.
Same is true with brother West, man. It's mom and dad, your mom and dad
Yes,
made
sir.
you, and it's just a beautiful thing to be in dialogue with you. We live in such a grim and dim moment in the history of the world, his species, but we fighting, brother. We swinging.
Yes, sir. You know, Dr. West, I didn't know if in some of these questions I may ask, you know, you could you can clarify. But I just want to go back a little bit.
Absolutely.
People see the what, but may not really understand the why. You born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, raised in Sacramento, huh?
Born in the same hospital as the Wilson brothers of the Gap Band, and that GOP Gap, stands for Greenwood, Orchard, and Pine, which was the Black Wall Street, burnt down in 1921 by cowardly white supremacists, but Tulsa bounced back. My grandfather, Reverend C.L. West, was the founder of Metropolitan Baptist Church, which is now the largest Baptist church on the chocolate side of Tulsa. And Grandma Lovey O'Gwen, just setting the highest standards of moral and spiritual greatness. Now, I only stayed in Tulsa a few weeks. I ended up going to Topeka, Kansas. That's where my sister was born. And then we ended up in Sacramento, California. So I'm a West
Right.
Coast brother.
For sure, for sure. But I think it's powerful. I mean, when you look at just the history of Tulsa itself with the Black Wall Street,
That's
and that that seed was birthed in that space. That is really, I never knew that. And we'll get to Sacramento because Sacramento has its own history when it comes to the Black Panther Party and so forth. But did you have any family that was affected by the Black Wall Street? Did you have any connections there at all?
Well, I mean, once they burned it down in 21, see, Granddad didn't get there until 26, 27. And so it was after. It took a lot of courage because, thousands of black folk left because of the vicious massacre on black people.
Yeah.
So Granddad to leave Louisiana, Hamburg, Louisiana, and go to Tulsa, that was a leap of faith, man.
For sure, for sure. Tulsa, I mean, when you go to Tulsa now, you see what was the Greenwood district, and you see what it you can just dream about what it was, but to see it now is like, see is like, wow, man. And it goes back to what you said about just the unfortunate behavior of hate
Oh, yeah.
that has been expressed. Then you went to Sacramento, and your mom being an educator, and your dad, working for the Department of Defense, and your granddad being a pastor. You had a mixture of business, education, spirituality. Like, how was it just growing up in your household?
Well, man, I receive so much love. I don't have a language for it. You know what I mean? You cut any sentence and you feel all of the love. It was supernatural love, though, brother. Irene B. West, Clifton West. That's mom and dad. That's the greatest honor I've ever had in my life, ever will have, being the second son of Irene and Clifton, man. I'm telling you, my older brother Cliff, he say the same thing. My two sisters, Cynthia and Cheryl, say the same thing. We grew up in Glen Elder. Glen Elder was chocolate side of Sacto. Had our little league, had our parties in the garage with the purple lights, with the Mighty Dells and Dramatics and Delphonics, let alone James Brown and Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye and Tyrell, setting the music in place, brother. But Shiloh Baptist Church meant a lot, and so did the Black Panther Party,
Yeah.
that they were right on the same street in Oak Park. And so I got Jesus-centered freedom on the one hand and a fundamental commitment to poor and working people, those friends known call it red earth, on the other. And I've been trying to be true to
Yeah.
that. Up
Yeah, your love for music. Anybody that knows you knows your style. You talk about style so much. Any beauty that you see in me, is a reflection. You can only recognize any beauty you see in me because of the beauty that's within you. This love that you have for music. Did you get this, from the household? Did you grow up on the blues? Did you grow up? Where did you get this love for music?
just growing up in black America, for we black folk, music is not ornamental or decorative. It's constitutive of who we are. It's integral to our way of being in the world. It's how we stylize space and time. It goes back to the 1830s when Henry Highland Garnett made a speech. He said, "Don't confuse the situation of black people with that of the Israelites of the Old Testament. For black people, pharaohs on both sides of the bloody Red Sea." Somebody in
Mm,
the last row said, "Could somebody sing a song, please?"
mm,
It's like the slaves stealing away, brother, in the midnight hour at the creek when it was against the law for black people to worship God without white supervision. And they held hands in a ring, shouting. They raised their voices and sang, "Sweet, swing low, sweet chariot." So we got to sing just in order to make our way through a situation that seems to be no way. The church, you say, well, the Lord is making a way out of no way politically. You're opting for the impossible, but when you get it, they call it inevitable, as Nelson Mandela put it. So we come from a great people, a black people, who seems as if there's no way out. There's no way. Clara Ward, at 25 years old, wrote that song. My soul looks back and wonders how I got over. She was responding to the Ku Klux Klan when they circled her car with her mother and her sisters, with the great Clara Ward singers. My soul looks back and wonders how I got over. Well, part of it is it's the music. The spirit will not descend without sound. So when I heard George Clinton and the mothership, when I heard James Brown, when I heard Aretha Franklin, when I heard Phyllis Hyman, when I heard Encounter, when I heard Stevie Wonder, when I heard the Made Ingredient, when I heard the Whispers, they were speaking of something so deep inside of me that gave me a sense of possibility, self-respect, and self-confidence that I could straighten my back up and keep swinging. Brother Sly used to come to our church on the fifth Sunday, play the organ from Vallejo. And you remember that song he wrote, "Stand, you've been sitting much too long. There's a permanent crease in your right and wrong. Stand. There's a midget standing tall and a giant beside him about to fall. Stand, there's a cross for you to bear, things to go through. If you going anywhere." Thank you, Sly. Your music constitutes wind at our back. And we ain't got to the genius of all geniuses, who's Curtis Mayfield, John Coltrane, Nina Simone. All of those are love warriors, freedom fighters, wounded healers, joy spreaders. And our music has been in the vanguard of who we are as the people, the vanguard of our black freedom struggle. Gil Scott Heron and the others, they give us a taste of freedom in the sound. Duke Ellington said that black people have made dissonance a way of life. A way of life. Isn't that something?
That's something, Doc. I was in Sydney, Australia, and I'm walking through the mall, and this lady, she says, "You from America, aren't you?" I said, "How you know that?" She said, you black people, you got swag."
Yeah.
I said, that's what slavery did to us. It gave us rhythm. Oppression gave us rhythm, and that's what it sounds like. That you were able to find, we were able to find the rhythm, despite what was going on in our
That's
lives. Our artists, those artists that you mentioned, it seems that that's where you saw revolutionaries. Who was the first revolutionary that you saw growing up that you said, hey, that gave you the courage to be who you are?
I think it was probably Martin King. Mom and Dad took me to Memorial Auditorium when I was 10 years old. And Martin was such a love warrior, but he was a revolutionary in terms he wanted to turn the world upside down. He wanted the last to be first and the first last. He was fundamentally focused on the least of these of the 25th chapter of Matthew. What you do unto the prisoner, unto the orphan, the widows, what you do unto the poor, what you do unto the persecuted and subjugated and occupied. That's very important these days in terms of Gaza. That what you do unto them, you do unto me. Jesus. Now we got a giant on Sister Nina Turner. She's straight out of
Oh, yeah,
Cleveland too, and she knows
I know
what I'm talking about. She
it.
knows what I'm talking. She's in the same tradition,
Yes,
no brother.
yes, yes, yes.
Also true that I was deeply, deeply influenced by the Black Panther Party because they were a younger generation. Martin was an older generation, and they have the young brothers willing to die for me, die for black people who had been so unloved and uncared for and trashed and so forth. And a lot of people didn't understand what it was about guns, and they thought it was just about uniforms. They say now, if you look deep in the hearts of Mark Teamer, he was from Sacto, Black Panther Party. When I met Bobby Seale and Erica Huggins Elaine Brown. I saw the love in them. Malcolm X was the same way. He loved us so
Mm-hmm.
that they were willing to pay the ultimate price.
Right.
Live,
Right.
sacrifice, serve the people. And so you can see this diffusion of Shiloh Baptist Church of Willie P. Cook and Deacon Hinton and Sarah Ray, my vacation Bible school teacher on the one hand, and on the other hand, the Black Panther Party saying, if you really want to find what the proof of the pudding is, it's going to be in your deeds, because love is about a need, it's about deed, and it's about seed. Everybody needs love, but no love without deeds. But the deeds are the seeds that keep sprouting every generation. When I look at you, I say, hey, he's another seed sprouting in Brother Basheer. I know that love poured into you. You got your own personal testimony of who loved you, who cared for you. We are who we are because somebody cared for us. Somebody loved us so deeply. It's all up in us. Let's get it out. Let's empty it out. Let's give it to somebody else. That's Ashford and Simpson. Send it like a puff of smoke. Have a little hope. I mean, they did two of the greatest love words of their generation. Brother Dick Ashford and Valerie Simpson, like Stevie Wonder, same thing. What does it mean to care about people? What does it mean to have courage to serve people because you care about people? Well, usually you then on your way to the cross.
Mm-hmm.
You're usually on your way to the cross. You remember Brother Martin King when he was in that paddy wagon and 4.5 hours in the dark with the German Shepherd? And Daddy King, his father, told me many years ago, he said when Martin got out there, Brother West, he couldn't walk a straight line. All he could say was, this is the cross we must bear for the freedom of our people. You see, if you're a strong love warrior, then you got to not talk about the cross. You got to bear a cross, and there's a good chance you're going to be crucified on that cross. But you're going to leave the seeds, and the seeds of the next generation going to come along, and Basheer going to say, I ain't going to ever forget about Martin King, Malcolm, and Fannie Lou Hamer. And Brother West, my generation, I'm going to say, I'll never forget about the sacrifice and service and witness of Martin King and Malcolm and Fannie Lou Hamer, going all the way back to Ida B. Wells Barnett, going all the way back, Frederick Douglass, going all the way back to Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth. And we ain't even got to Mahalia Jackson yet, because the artists are part and parcel of our movement.
Dr. West, one of the issues that we face today is this broken bridge between generations. And one of the things about you is that throughout your life, young people have always been connected to you. I'm kind of skipping some things because you inspire me, so I want to make sure I get this stuff out.
Yeah.
Like young people have always been connected to you. Why do you think that in our communities there's a generational separation? And what do you think that you have within inside you or through your deeds that has caused for young people to always, when you was a professor, your classes was always booked. They was booked up, right? What is it about you think that causes young people to be so connected to you?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Oh, brother, just last week I had one of my peak moments when I gave a lecture and dialogue with the precious young folk of Southern Elementary School in Chicago with my dear brother Reverend Bobby Lewis. They were sixth graders, seventh graders, and eighth graders. I have my highest moment with the children. I think the best lecture I ever gave was to kindergartners, because I think in the end I'm very I got this child inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
Difference between being childish and childlike. If you're childish, it's time to grow up. Narcissistic, too narrow. Think the world evolves around you. But if you're childlike, you have a sense of wonder, awe, curiosity, and all of the great ones. Though somebody made the reference to my very, very dear brother Bootsy Collins, who I love to take a bullet for in a minute. We wrote 2 songs on his folk capital of the world. in 2007. And he has that same childlikeness because, I mean, he's a real genius. I'm just a brother off the block. But he's a bona fide genius. But he's always open to adventure, always open to taking in and learning, always open to further development and growth and maturation. You see what I mean? And I think children, they pick that up in you, man. They pick that up in you. And of course, the biblical text is very important when Jesus has suffered the little children to come unto me and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God. What are you talking about, Jesus? Yeah, you got to be humble. You got to have that sense of openness and vulnerability if you're talking about a kingdom of God. And I learned in the Shallow Baptist Church, if the kingdom of God is within you, then everywhere you go, you ought to leave a little heaven behind. So the bottom line is, well, how is the heaven being left behind? Are you concerned about justice? Are you concerned about brothers and sisters on the block, mass incarceration, indecent housing, don't have health care, wages too low, taught to hate themselves, believe they have less beauty and intelligence and character than other people, walk around scared and afraid and intimidated? Oh, no, 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 no. Mm-mm. Than somebody else, or think that somehow you ought to be scared because somebody's imposing their power over you. There's something about childlikeness that is a beautiful thing. Of course, it's one of the grand ideals in great artists like Shakespeare.
What advice do you have for elders in the community? I know my little brother Kwame, he just says something on here. He said there's a difference between old people and elders. What advice do you have for the elders of our community who are not connected to the youth, or the youth that are not connected to the elders? Why
Hmm.
is it important for that relationship to exist?
I mean, one, we elders ought to just count our blessings and recognize it was just a number of years ago that we were young and we needed guidance, we needed counsel, and we need to learn how to think for ourselves. I don't believe imitation is the option. Imitation is suicide. Emulation is a sign of an adolescent mind. But we have to build on the best. See, that's why the anthem of black people is lift every what? It's lift every voice. It's not lift every echo. Because the echo ain't nothing but an imitation and a copy. Luther Vandross wasn't no copy. Billie Holiday wasn't no copy. You, that, that Yusuf Lateef wasn't no copy. They found their voices. That's what it is to be a human being. That's what it is to be a blues woman. That's what it is to be a jazz man. You got to find your voice. You can't be imitating other folk. Now, you can build on other folk. Michael Jackson learned a whole lot from James Brown. And we saw the other day with Brother Usher that he learned a whole lot from Michael Jackson, right? And he had a moment of Marvin Gaye where he just went like this. I said, oh, Lord, that's a Marvin Gaye moment. Usher, I love that brother out of ATL, A-Town. That's a beautiful thing. But he had to find his own voice. So that's true in life. Each one of us must find our voices, and we do that by recognizing we were once young and we were affirmed, or the best of what is inside of us came because we were affirmed, we were respected, we had a self-regard based on others regarding us highly. And we got to do the same thing for the young folk. Part of the problem these days, we just got so many young folk who are unloved and uncared for.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Is it true, Dr. West, that you were the first African American to graduate from Princeton with a PhD in philosophy? Were you the first to do that?
Well, I mean, I was the first one given the white supremacy at Princeton. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, there's been a whole lot of black men and women who got PhDs in philosophy who never went to Princeton or Harvard or Yale.
Mhm.
Because philosophy is philosophia, love of wisdom. And we've had profoundly wise black brothers and sisters going all the way back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But in terms of getting a credential, in terms of getting a degree and so forth. That's true. But we must never, ever be overly impressed with degrees, though, brother. You know that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
We just, Sam Cooke, Curtis Mayfield, Sly Stone never got a Grammy. Milli Vanilli got two. What's, what? I'm going, I'm going to lie. You know, Grammy, they get it wrong. They get it wrong.
Loud and clear.
Beyonce
What?
got hers and Quincy got his and Stevie Wonder got a lot of Grammys. But in the end, it ain't about the Grammy. It's about the quality of what you are providing. So if you got a PhD, the question becomes, what are you doing with it? Are you empowering the people? Are you telling the truth? Are you seeking justice? Are you concerned about beauty? All of the things that philosophy has been associated with, truth and goodness and beauty. And I speak as a revolutionary Christian, so I speak about God as well. But there's some people atheistic like James Baldwin, or agnostic like James Baldwin, or an Audre Lorde. I have great respect for them. My dear sister Bell Hooks, who's Buddhist. Of course, we wrote books together and traveled the country and so forth. That my love and respect for her is as high as anybody else, even though she is Buddhist and I'm Christian. And I don't exist without Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. There ain't no doubt about that. And they Muslims to the core, even though their families were Baptists in raising them, but they Muslims to the core. Yeah. John Coltrane doesn't exist without Naima. She was Muslim. He doesn't exist without Alice, his second wife, who was Hindu. So all of us have our rich relations with people from a variety of different religious traditions.
Without a doubt. We were recently in Houston together,
yeah,
and Dr. West came, and for those who don't know, I'm a third generation Muslim. My grandparents became Muslim in the 70s, and been connected to whether it's Imam Jamal Amin or Imam Siraj Wahaj or Sister Clara Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I'm a part of that legacy, and just to see you in front of that crowd speaking to this community in a language of love is just powerful. Dr. West, I want to get to some tough topics. I want us to go to a whole nother level in this level of conversation. The reason why I started there is I wanted people to know, who you were. You didn't just, come out like this man that you are. There was a transition. There was a journey, and people need to understand that in life, it's not always about the destination. It's about the journey and what you get along the journey. And I've always just been such a admirer, and I'm in a space right now in my life where I really want to show honor to the elders. And when I look at you, I think about who I would have been when Dr. King was alive, or Malcolm was alive, and I see you as that, and I just want to honor you, and I just want to say I appreciate you, and I thank you for your courage and your strength, and for being unapologetically who you are, and that there's thousands of people around the world who may not be as blessed as I am at the moment to talk to you, but I want to speak on behalf of them and tell you that we thank you and we appreciate your courage and never folding. And so I just wanted to take that moment to do that. And let's get into these topics. Whether it's a call for a ceasefire in Chicago, or it's a call for a ceasefire in Gaza, a call for a ceasefire in India, a call for a ceasefire in Sudan. Dr. West, what's going on? What's going on in this world right now where it seems that black and brown people, whether they're Christians or Muslims, tend to be the most oppressed people in the world? What's going on from your perspective?
Well, one is, though, brother, that we live at a moment in which the most powerful empire in the history of the world, which is the U.S. empire, that has 800 military units around the world, special operations in 130 countries, has a military budget bigger than the 8 next nations combined, that empire is undergoing decay and decline. We are witnessing its dissolution and its disintegration. Trump is one of the symptoms of it in terms of organized greed and organized hatred. But in fact, uh, there's a whole, I mean, human history is a history of empires coming and going. It's been about 70 years back to when we emerged out of Africa as a species. And so what is happening now in a moment in which when an empire is undergoing this kind of decay, you see some of the highest levels of violence. Some of the highest levels of violence. We saw it in 1945 when you had three major empires beginning to collapse, and Hitler trying to create a German empire around the world ended up with over 75 million people killed within a few years. That was World War II, my brother. Every continent on the globe, right? So that we want to always keep in mind that there's historical circumstances. Now, the major movement of the 20th century has been decolonization. And decolonization was the awakening among colonized people that they could actually change and transform their circumstances such that they no longer had to put up with their slave-like conditions, with the oppressive conditions, their exploitative conditions, you see. And so the American empire began to peak around 1990. It's been in decline ever since, but it's slowly being recognized around the world. So that when you look at the Middle East, for example, that the American empire has been keeping the state of Israel alive, billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, we understand, our precious Jewish brothers and sisters, they've been terrorized and traumatized for 2,000 years. And the Holocaust was real. Just like the African Holocaust on the slave ships were real. Just like the genocide of Armenians, just like the genocide of Tutsi, just like the genocide of the Belgian Congolese by Leopold that killed 12 million. All of those are real. What's happening now is genocide. And what's happening in that genocide is the U.S. empire is enabling that genocide. They're using U.S. equipment, U.S. bombs, U.S. military equipment, and so forth. And it's against who? It's against the colonized people. It's against the people whose land was taken away, who were occupied, who were pushed out. They were dispossessed of their land. So you got Palestinians all around the world who were pushed out. In some ways, it's similar to our precious indigenous brothers and sisters here in the States, right? You come to a place and you say, there's no people here, just land. Quit lying. You got human beings here. You just don't consider the Palestinians or the Arabs in the 1900s human beings. You don't consider indigenous peoples human beings. Did the same thing in Australia. Did the same thing in Canada. And so what is happening now is this is the blowback. This is the blowback of American empire beginning to decay, and we're seeing the ways in which our taxpayers' money, our U.S. support tries to either lie and say, well, it's not genocide, it's not ethnic cleansing, they're really not under apartheid conditions. But we sit there and watch it on television, and we see it for ourselves. Then we listen to the politicians. Okay, well, Biden, what you got to say? Well, Israel has a right to defend itself. That's true. Every people have a right to defend themselves. Brother Basheer got a right to defend himself. Brother West got a right to defend himself. That doesn't mean it authorizes us to engage in massive massacres. It doesn't authorize us to engage in genocide at all. And then you get a little bit more. Well, we're deeply concerned about the protection of the civilians. Then why are you providing the billions of dollars? Ordinarily, you provide 3.8. Now you want an extra $14 billion. The level of hypocrisy, the level of coldness and cruelty and callousness toward our precious Palestinian brothers and sisters. And we know if it were the other way around, if they were Europeans who were being bombed in that way by Africans or Arabs, U.S. government would be to run to their defense in a minute, in a second. So that's part of the racism too.
Right.
And
You know, Dr. West, I want to say to you because I want to.
how come we don't have black leaders calling for not just ceasefire? That's the easiest thing. End the siege, end occupation. Make sure Palestinians are treated with humanity. And I say the same thing about Jews. I say the same thing about Israelis. I say the same thing about the Ethiopians. I say the same thing about Latvians. I say the same thing about Japanese. This is a human thing. But you're absolutely right. When it comes to black folk, Africans, Middle Easterns, peoples of color, given the white supremacy operating in the age of American empire, we tend to catch most of the hell. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have poor white folk catching hell. But at the same time, oh, Lord have mercy. I just don't think that American government and American politicians would sit there and watch white folk being killed. 14,000 children killed in 3.5 months. And you still giving them more money, and there hasn't been one major critique, one call for not just call for ceasefire, but the end of the siege and the end of the occupation. You got to get at the roots of it. That's what's missing, and it's just so sad that we don't have more people raising that issue. And you're talking about what Martin and Malcolm and the others were saying. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
But they turning over in their grave. Where's the black elected officials? Where's the NAACP? Where's the Urban League? Where's NAN? Where's other black folk? Where's the entertainers? Where's the athletes? Come on now. Hey, career means that much. Your status, your title means that much. You can't raise your voice to say a mumbling word about genocide with precious children being killed over 100 and some a day. What happens when that happens to us? Then we get upset. Nobody cares. Hey, we ought to care about everybody. Care about everybody. I'm not just talking about these folk who, as I said before, just trotting out these little weak formulations about, well, a truce here or pause here or maybe a ceasefire here. No, we calling for strong voices that are moral and spiritual. Thank God for South Africa.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's on moral and spiritual ground.
Well, Dr. West, I want to say to you, Dr. West, because I want to respect your time, and I want to make sure we end with some things. You are running for president of the United States of America. You are running for the highest seat in the land, and so many of us are so excited and appreciative of that. How can those who are tuned in, how can we help you on this journey? What's needed from us? And what inspired you to the point where you said, you know what, I'm going to run for president? What inspired you to do that?
The call is the same. It's been the same for 55 years, brother. Tell the truth. Condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak. To try to follow through on a deep love and care, and justice is what love looks like in public, which means indeed that you always begin with the least of these. You always begin with those who are catching the most hell, in the language of Malcolm. When I looked up, I saw Trump. I saw bona fide gangster Trump, neo-fascist, leading the country toward a second civil war. Was the opposition? Biden, militaristic, leading the world toward a third world war. So we got Civil War II versus World War III. Oh my God, what a choice. There's got to be other voices. There's got to be those who come out of our tradition that flows from what I talked about before. It's got to flow in from Harriet Tubman through Martin King, through Martin, Fannie Lou Hamer, and the others. Stokely Carter, so many ones we could mention, you see. And so I said to myself, then I'm going to make this run to be true to this tradition and make sure people have a genuine alternative. You've got to have a genuine alternative. So what do I call for? I want to head the American empire in order to dismantle it. We don't need 800 military units around the world. 62 cents for every $1 goes to the military. I want to massively cut that and invest it in people to satisfy their needs because I'm an abolitionist. I want to abolish poverty. I want to abolish homelessness. I want to abolish indecent housing. I don't even want to go to the White House until everybody has a house. Just as example to say, hey, we can abolish these conditions of social misery. I want quality education free. I want Medicare free. The kind of thing Brother Bernie was talking about, you see. So that you, what you do is you end up putting your resources behind the masses, behind poor and working people. You got 3 individuals in the country right now that have wealth equivalent to half the country. 160 million fellow citizens have wealth equivalent to 3 people. That's a key sweat moment. Something just ain't right. Something just ain't right. 1% of the population own 90% of the wealth. See, that's a level of grotesque wealth inequality that is so obscene that people don't even want to talk about it. But it is the truth. We got to tell the truth. America's been getting along for too long on the efficacy of lies, and lies hide crimes. Truth crushed the earth shall rise again. No lie can live forever. And we're at a moment. Cat Williams talked about this. 2024 is what? The year of truth. Now, he got his own comic genius and a way of talking about it, but he's right. It's a year of truth. And in the year of truth, the suffering is going to be exposed. You're going to rip the veil off these folk who've been saying one thing and doing something else. And that's what we love about our freedom fight. That's what we love about Brother Malcolm.
Yes. Yes. And that's what we love about you, Dr. West. That's what we love about you, Dr. West. And for everybody that's tuned in, I just recently pinned a comment from New Jersey for Cornel West. You see it? Everybody that's on here right now, I need for you to click this link, and I need for you to sign up. I love your hearts. I love your fires. I love your hundreds, but it don't mean nothing if we don't put our support behind Dr. West. I don't want you to think about the two-party system and there's no way this. I don't even want you to focus on that. I want you to focus on Dr. West deserves us. He deserves, because of what he has done for this community, this world consistently, he deserves our full support. So I need for you to click on the link, join the campaign. I don't care if you're in another country. It don't matter. You can find ways to be of support to this campaign right here. What we're doing, March 2nd, I want to say thank you to the Muslim Legal Fund of America. We are hosting Dr. West in Dallas, Texas, March 2nd. And I'm going to be working with Dr. West, and I am working with Dr. West in this campaign. And we are putting together a tour for Dr. West because not only do we want to bring him to your city, but we want to raise money for him, right? You want to, either you're going to knock on some doors, you're going to write some checks, we're going to do something, so we're going to be of support to him. So once again, click the link, all right? Volunteer today. Click the link today, all right? Number 1. Number 2, I want you to send me a message. Send me a message for those organizations that are interested in also sponsoring this tour for Dr. West. Please get in contact with me, and I'm going to connect you with amazing co-campaign organizers and Kiana and Madeline and all those great team that Dr. West has assembled. All right. So get in contact with me if you're an organization you would like to sponsor this tour. Our goal is to bring Dr. West to your city to do a couple things. One, we want to bring him to your city to raise awareness about his presidential campaign and for teams to be mobilized on the ground to get those signatures so that he's on the ballot. Number 2, we want to make sure that we connect. And this is my message directly to them. If you can give me a second, Dr. West, I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna say something that you don't need to say. Okay? To the Muslims especially, I'm saying this as a Muslim, to the Muslims, the way that Dr. West has stood for the Muslim community for years, it's imperative that we stand behind him and show his support. No one, very few people have spoken for Palestine and spoken for the Muslim community and spoke about the atrocities that's happening in India right now. No one has done that like Dr. West. We need to raise money for him. So all these business owners, Palestinian business owners, all these Indian business owners, African American business owners, put your money where your mouth is. Let's raise. My goal, we need to raise at least $50 million for Dr. West in the next couple of months. And we can do that. We can do that together. We have the resources to do it. So we're doing a tour. We're coming to Dallas. We do a fundraising breakfast, a fundraiser for him. We do a banquet, and we do a meet and greet where he get a chance to meet young and the elders who are doing great work in the community. So please send me a message, connect with me. I'll connect you with the team, and our plan is to come to your city. We're coming to Dallas. Our next cities that we're working on right now is Cleveland, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Detroit, and we're looking at some other places, but we need for you to be a part of it and support. Dr. West, I want to say to you, I speak on behalf of those who are here and those who are not here, and I want to say to you, Dr. West, that we love you. We love you. And I look at you and I think about, people say what they would have done. They say, well, if it was back in slavery, man, I would have done this. But we know what you would have done by what you're doing today. We could tell the difference. So if you're telling me that you would have been there for Dr. King, or if you telling me you would have been there for Malcolm X, but you're not here for Dr. Cornel West, then you a liar. You a liar. You would have been a slave and would have been okay with being a slave. But if you are standing up for Dr. West, and you standing up and you being here and you giving your all to support him, then we see how you would have treated Dr. King and Malcolm and Fannie Lou Hamer and Medgar Evers and on and on and on and on and on. So Dr. West, me personally, I want to say that I'm here with you, that I'm here, that I support you, that I love you, that I appreciate you, and that you have always been a giant in my eyes, and I'm honored to even just be speaking with you. And I speak on behalf of my generation, and I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. And we're going to do all that we can. We will not let this moment go past without supporting you. I won't do it in my life, and the people that support me won't do it. And I hope that everybody else tuned in will. And I want to say also thank you to your lovely wife, who has been such a pleasure to work with. I want to say thank you to Senator Nina Turner, who has been an amazing supporter as well in connecting us. And I just want to say that I love you. I love you. I love you. And may God continue to bless you in this journey. And I appreciate you.
Brother, my love for you has no bounds. You are the future. You exemplify precisely with those who have, through blood, sweat, and tears, tried to unleash in the world, because you got a golden heart, you got a mind that is subtle, you got a back that's straight, and most importantly, you got the God that instilled the love in you that the world can't take away and the world didn't give you, which means you a free man. And when you free like that, the world might view you as a threat, but the world can never crush you. Never crush you. And when you're viewed like a threat, the threat is directed toward the right folk. It's the folk who got too much greed and hatred and callousness and indifference inside of them that are reinforcing oppression. That's why when Jesus went into that temple, what did he do? That temple was the biggest edifice west of Rome. 300 Roman troops were protecting that temple, and disciples pulled away. He had to go in there by himself. Thank God we got more than just one person. We got each other. But when he went in there, he turned those temples over, not because he hated anybody. We ain't talking about hating nobody. We're talking about hating greed. We're talking about hating injustice. We're talking about hating subjugation. That's why he turned those tables over. And yes, they put him on a cross. They didn't realize that blood at the bottom of that cross had a power in it, that it kept going from one generation to the next. Even Muhammad himself said, oh, there's something about this Jesus. Yes, he's part of the prophetic tradition. Yes, he's part and parcel to go from Moses all the way to the great figures of Islam. Indeed, indeed. That's what we're talking about. And we do it in the spirit of humility, and we do it in the spirit of not loving folks that other folk will love us back. We never love black people for black people to love us back. We love black people because they're worthy of being loved. This ain't no quid pro quo transactional thing. This is about transformation. This is about loving folk in spite of, loving folk over against the evidence. So what, they made in the image and likeness of a great God, and they're worthy of the love, even if they talk about me. Now, if they talk about my mama, I'm a Christian, but it gets a little difficult because I got gangster in me. I still got some gangster in me now. I don't want to be acting like I'm naive about this thing. I was a gangster before I met Jesus, and now I'm a redeemed sinner with gangster proclivities. Tupac was my student. He was on the front row when I taught at House of the Lord Pentecostal Church under Reverend Herbert Daltrey, the Black United Front, with Afeni, his beloved mother, who's a member of the Black Panther Party and a member of House of the Lord. I can see Tupac's eyes. We didn't know he was a genius, but we knew as he grew, he had love and he had thug life at the same time. He was an honest man. And I know I got gangster inside of me. So you talk about my mama. I may not follow Jesus at that moment, guys. I may ass in the name of Jesus. But other than that, I try to be on the love train now. I try to be on the love train. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Lord. But thank you so much. But we're gonna do so many things together, my
Yes, sir.
brother. I love you, man.
I love you too, Dr. West.
And God bless your loved ones, man. God bless
Amen.
your loved ones.
Dr. West, thank you so much, man. To everybody that tuned in, we thank you all.
People here, very much so, and you're absolutely right about my beloved wife Anna. She just thanks the world of you for very good reason. I know Sister Nina does too.
No, Dr. West, we love you so much, man. And for everybody that tuned in, we thank you. You gave us something that we can never give it back, which is time. And I thank you all for tuning in and giving us your time and really taking advantage of this moment and being able to experience Dr. West in this way. And this is a moment that was meant to be for all of us. No matter where you are in the world, tuned in, this moment was for us to share together. So, Dr. West, we thank you for being the epitome of love and for being an example of Jesus. Because if you can't be Christian or be Muslim and not be a revolutionary. If you're not,
Mhm.
if you read that Bible and read that Quran or read those other spiritual texts and it doesn't make you into a revolutionary, then you must be reading it the wrong way. So thank you, Dr. West. Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you, sir.
Love you. Stay strong, my
Yes,
brother.
sir. Yes,
Talk to you
yes,
soon.
sir. Salams.
Thank you.